Welcome back. Now let's take you through the major stories making headlines across Nigeria this morning. You're welcome to call and join the conversation on any of the stories that excites you. We are joined this morning by public affairs analyst Sesan Okunade. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning, Olive. Good morning, Osag.
I had hoped you would come in with the national one unity fabric.
The tailor is still working.
Oh, okay.
What are you saying, Agbada or
it's Danshiki.
Danshiki.
It's Danshiki. So that it will serve as the bridge between Agbada and...
okay.
When you consider the cost of oil, you have to now maintain everything.
Okay. You better have a nice cap as well.
No, we'll sew face cap with it.
Okay.
Ah, wow. What a fashion invention.
All right, let's get into the newspapers this morning. They should be on your screen in just a few seconds. We're going to start with the Nation newspapers. Big one there says, "End banditry now." Danjuma tells service chiefs. Ribadu, arms control law operational. Why insecurity persists by Interior Minister. And also this morning, Rivers PDP elders tackle Adad George for attacking Wike. That's on page 4 of the Nation this morning. We can also find here, Tinubu signed peace accord. Presidency counters Kuka. 99 illegal refineries found and 35 oil thieves held in 1 week. I think these are the major stories that we can find this morning. Oh, just to remind everyone, I think this is also a big story because we're talking about flood in different parts of the country. Cameroon begins release of water from Lagdo Dam.
In fact, when I saw that one, I said, not again. We'll come back to that story. Let's head to the next paper. The next paper this morning is the Punch newspaper. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, big story, governorship poll. 35,000 cops arrive Edo as joint forces begin patrol. Recall that the Inspector General of Police had talked about deploying 35,000 cops, even though the governor of the state was against it, saying that they have their own state security and all the likes. Military, NSCDC, EFCC personnel, backup police team, INEC tracks ballot boxes movements. Police parade 2,740 suspected kidnappers and others with 4,087 ammunition rounds. PDP shifts neck meeting over state Congress crisis. 3 Oyo students remanded for allegedly causing colleagues' death. We've been seeing a lot of these kind of stories lately. Federal government alerts 11 states as Cameroon plans Lagdo Dam release. Executive order, Tinubu eyes $2.5 billion investment. That's the big story that we have this morning on the Punch. Let's head to our next paper.
All right, away from the Punch this morning. The Daily Trust newspaper says petrol price and NNPC not usurping our powers, says NMDPRA. It is not a regulator and cannot fix prices. Ipman looks out for official notification. Federal government can reduce costs by cutting taxes and deductions, says sources. Onaikon flays federal government's reform, says middle class becoming poor. I did have this argument yesterday that we no longer actually have a middle class. You know, it's either you're rich or you're poor.
I'm rich in Jesus' name.
Well, because you are a chosen. Poverty, who are you?
Father and dad.
Please.
Danjuma to service chiefs, no more excuses, end killings now. 4 die, 8 injured in Ogun Road accident. Also on the Daily Trust this morning, federal government issues flood alert as Cameroon opens Lagdo Dam. Federal government to split unity colleges into basic and secondary schools. And also last story, Maiduguri flood, Datata donates 1.5 billion naira, NEDC 3 billion naira to victims. I think we can kick off with the stories on the Punch this morning. The major one, of course, there on your screen is the end banditry and killings now, Danjuma tells service chiefs. It says, we must end banditry, the killings going on now as soon as possible. The responsibility is on your shoulders. No excuses, absolutely no excuses. You can see that on the Nation newspapers this morning as a writer to that main story. So let's probably just start, with that one. How much more encouragement or motivation do the service chiefs need to have in order to end the killings and the banditry and the kidnapping across Nigeria? And is it lack of motivation? Is it lack of ginger, as they would say it in Nigerian terms?
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. I think this coming from Major General Danjuma to me is, I asked myself, is it that the federal government who appoints the service chiefs cannot talk to them and is now being consulted as a consultant to be a motivating factor, being a past military man who understands the basis? not just giving a marching order. I think he should be speaking to them on some of the ways he considered that they would do it better if he's actually in position, because that happens to be his field. You know, this is one of the cardinal issues that we have that is actually impacting on the growth of our economy: insecurity. It's discovered that a lot of people cannot go to their farms. A lot of people cannot travel. I keep telling individuals that gone are those days years back, you can do night traveling in this country. People move 24/7, you know, in Nigeria, but it's a societal mission to consider that now, and it's based on this insecurity. So if the government has called the service chiefs severally to meetings and we are not getting the desired distance, I think the approach of maybe consulting with a former military man who has actually been a minister of defense to assist in charging them up and giving them the right impetus, maybe will work out. But sincerely speaking, we are not getting it right, because we hear about killing. I think late last week, so early this week, we heard about the killing in Kaduna, kidnapping. And so you wake up every day to hear about one killing or the other. If Danjuma, we assist to talk to you, they understand the language, just like we're calling you to come and talk to an individual in the media space. So you understand the terminology. So Mr. President may not have that. He might be using a different approach that those service chiefs may not understand. So let's see what somebody who has the understanding of the deals.
Yeah, but is it realistic to give marching orders when we still have not been able to fix the things that should, you know, make this thing achievable? For example, I think one of the things we're going to be talking about this morning is this new, you know, agency on small and proliferation. I've continuously argued that if we don't fix the influx of arms into Nigeria, we do not fix our borders, we do not, you know, infuse some level of intelligence and technology into tracking these, you know, criminals, we will just continue to move in circles and never really get to achieve, because none of these guns are produced locally. If you see the guns that are being used by these terrorists and bandits in northern Nigeria, they're not produced locally. They are brought into the country through some means. And it makes it seemingly easy for them, you know, whichever way that they've been getting those guns in. So there's many aspects of the whole process that need to be fixed. So we'll simply give marching orders to these service chiefs. You know, is that realistic if we do not tighten those loopholes?
Yeah, I would say it's realistic. Why do I say that? The matching, the loopholes you are considering are not going to be done by you and I. It's still the same service chief, maybe one or two of the departments under them. When you talked about the issue of border, it's being manned by the Controller General, which has to do with issue of immigration, people going out, coming in. When you talked about the issue of arms coming on board, the military are involved because there's part of their department that oversees the activities that is being carried out there. So it's not going to be done by civilian. It's still going to be done by the same set of service chiefs that we have, maybe different departments. So maybe what he's trying to do is that this marching order we've given to you, we've been able to explain some of the areas you need to concentrate on, which we have identified this. You know, I think I read in one of the headlines this morning where several of these people were actually being caught. And I said, you can't be picking boys that are having these things on the street. Why don't you go to the major source? Discontinue the source. Those are the people bringing this thing in. We keep hearing of interception of arms and ammunition by the customs. And I ask, who are the faces behind this act? We've not heard of any being brought to justice. So it's not enough to say you are actually picking somebody who is in custody of ammunition illegally, but speak to those that are actually infiltrating those things into the system. When you discontinue the source, the people that are actually being used, because you ask yourself, somebody will go for a robbery and they will tell you that they stole 10 million. And they say they gave him 50. He said, no, they only gave me 50,000, 100,000. You say, so out of so much that were actually being stolen, this is just the percentage that got to you, and it's worth risking your life about. So most of the time, we should not go to the people that are actually out there on the street. Go to the main source. When you don't have people to carry out that act, then you see that those things will definitely be minimized, which I support you. We must go to the root, discontinue the source, and we'll see that the level of security will be improved as a nation.
All right. Let's move away from insecurity to talk about safety of the Nigerian citizens. I am talking about safety in terms of flooding. Lately, conversations about flooding have been ongoing ones. The Nation reports on the front page, Cameroon begins release of water from Lagdo Dam. Agency puts rivers, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, Nasarawa, Kogi, Edo, Delta, Anambra, Bayelsa, and Cross River on the alert. Now, from the details, it says that they started the release even already yesterday. It started on Tuesday, and it will begin to progress for the next 7 days. Federal government made this known in a press statement signed by the Director General, Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria Hydrological Service Agency, Umar Mohammed. And they said, I mean, for the next 7 days, they're going to be releasing it in bits. It's not going to be as intense. They say that Nigerians should not worry, that right now the water is within safe levels. But they said the dam operators have also indicated that the planned water discharges will be gradual. So do you have any worries or any concerns? Especially because if you look in the past years, we've seen how, not even in the past years, in the most recent time, conversations about, flooding and the dam. And if you remember the 2012, I think the 2012 one was the worst, where we had people's houses submerged in water. Do you have such fears this time?
Yeah, I have my worries. First and foremost, coming to say, they've started the release yesterday, and there no information before now to actually prepare the people concerned. You might feel that the water level is still intact now. If it gets out of proportion, how do people now run within those specific days that you have actually given? I feel there should be this collaboration between countries, which I believe we have. Cameroon is our neighbor. They are more or less like a family to us. Why don't we have this information ahead, a few weeks, months, to prepare the people, and if need be, to actually relocate certain set of people out of the place where they will be? My worries, again, is the states mentioned therein are more of the northern region, and that is the food basket of the nation. When you talked about all this area there. So we are battling insecurity. We are going to be faced with flooding again. So it speaks volume that food scarcity is imminent in this season that we're talking about. These are periods that they should be galvanizing, harvesting, and preparing for another session of food stuff. And we are not getting that. We are talking about flooding. My worries is that beyond people actually being displaced, if this get out of hand, is that we may not be having access to food. And food security is very fundamental. Currently, we know the food inflation rate, and that might actually spiral higher. It's a wake-up call for those areas that are not affected with the vast land they have to start thinking how they will invest more in agriculture.
I mean, it's not just food,
to balance up.
There's food, there's the increase of internally displaced persons, because right now, a number of them, if, we hope it doesn't get out of hand, if it gets out of hand, people will be might be displaced from their homes. It would definitely, increase. And
that's why I said early information would have been a better thing, so that you can move those people. You can move those people to safe place. And it's part of the things that we're saying, that people should collaborate when issues like this are happening. They've started releasing yesterday. And I can tell you, even though you're saying that the water level is still in safe hands, some areas would have been affected. But because the number is not much, we might think that everything is fine. These things should be issues that we'll be hearing. We should be proactive in the areas of managing some of these things, if indeed we have the interest of the citizen that we are leading. The governors of those states, the agency responsible, should have first-hand information, not coming up when the thing has opened. I'm sure the information might be coming when some people have raised alarm in some area that they have been affected, and they will not get to know that, it is the dam that they are actually releasing from Cameroon that is affecting those people.
Well, to be fair, I think they have put out, some warnings in the past. NIMET did put out
NIMET,
warnings, yes. There's arguments, as to a role that Nigeria should have played with regards to Lagdo Dam in the past. Yet I don't know if we have.
In the past. But I'm even saying that if that role is actually not being placed, this warning, well, you said it's out there. NIMET has actually put those things out.
Yeah,
But
I
how
believe so.
much have we been able to see the collaboration with state government saying, okay, this warning is out? How can we actually move those people? Because this is actually coming, or knowing fully well that they understand the terrain of some of the areas that we're speaking of.
All right. I mean, NIMET's warning, I think, was more about rainfall as opposed to...
I guess.
Yeah, as opposed to the dam and the dam.
So if it's rainfall, it's
Yes.
different from dam.
Okay.
And remember, it's dam that actually caused the problem that we have in Maiduguri, not even the rain.
Okay, let's head to the Punch newspaper. I would leave the big story. I'm sure Sagi wants to take that. I want to take a smaller story there. 3 Oyo students remanded for allegedly causing colleagues' death. Now, the reports have it that these 3 students they got into a fight with the deceased and beat him up, and he went home. By the time he got home, complained of body pains. After a while, he died, right? This is one story. In some other cases, we've been seeing a lot of reports in the past few days, weeks, about people, young people, killing other young people. Men, young boys killing girls for ritual purposes. In fact, the most recent one I saw was a little boy, a young boy killing a little boy. So it seems that whilst we are battling insecurity on one hand, I worry about the value of life that the younger generation attach. This might have been maybe not intentional. I don't know what the exact details are. The court will decide on that. But I want you to speak to the incessant killings of young people by other young people that we've been seeing lately.
It speaks volume to our value proposition. We keep saying that every now and then. And when you say about value, you talk to parents. A lot of parents have failed in their responsibility. I know people will say there's so much pressure that we have out there, you can't say parents have failed. But when you don't do what is expected of you as parents to inculcate the value, people wake up, what we even promote on social media, on the terrestrial TV, encourages this younger generation to believe that the route to go is by having blood money, which was things that were of discouragement. People will tell you that they are actually, shooting some of those things to discourage them. But you're actually perpetrating the act. You are teaching them the modus of operandi of how to carry out this. There is an alternative. People have seen, remember there was a time they said in Ogun State, some mothers gathered together and they said the association of fraudsters, Yahoo boys, coming to say, let our children breathe, let them survive. We have lost the value. We run after money. What everybody wakes up to do is that, which vehicle are you using? This person is already. Nobody looks the line of saying, can we go to school? They'll tell you, people are now saying, individuals going to school is mere waste of time. When you have the shortcut, we are not discouraging people. So it speaks to our value. And those value starts from home. Most parents have lost, most people, those days while we are growing up, you bring something not given to you by your parent. You will almost give up. Honestly. But these days, a girl that the mother is staying in one room is coming home with a Corolla, and you are not asking questions.
Or a 15-year-old boy is buying a Mercedes, knowing that the parents can't afford it. The parents knowing that they did not give him the money because they can't afford it. They will celebrate.
You are still in school, you are being celebrated, and you will buy houses for you. Said you are eating, you are already eating the fruit of your labor that you have not invested in. It speaks to volume. And that's why we take it back to the parent, that we must go back to the basics. Where those, if you take a pencil that do not belong to you. And we started this act by saying civilization. When parents will want to correct children in school, and they will say, no, don't beat my child. I know what it actually cost me to bring this child to this level. These are the values that we are losing, and those children are seeing those abnormalities as the norm at which they need to go through. It's not only, if you look at fighting those days, is like, I don't want to do it because this person may actually go into coma. If those things that enters my head while we're growing up is that if I feel like I'm beaten and he ends up beating me and I die, that's the end of it. So when you see fighting, you just like patch off the road and just grow your power. But these days, violence is one of the things that the younger generation have grown up to see, and the value is not just there. So we must go back to the drawing board of parents taking responsibility. Don't let us allow to say the pressure that we are facing economically is what is actually taking some of this thing out. Go back to the drawing board. The religious houses, more of prosperity than what we're saying. You know, I laughed the other time when you say by faith you are rich. Faith is not, you must walk. You must walk.
I completely agree with you. We need to start teaching values of hard work, delayed gratification.
Diligence.
If you work now, it doesn't mean that things will happen overnight.
There are certain foundations that you lay, and in the nearest future, you start reaping the fruit of some of those things that we're saying.
Right.
Let's talk about Edo State now. On the Punch, governorship polls, 35,000 cops arrive. Edo as joint forces begin patrol. Military, NSCDC, EFCC personnel, backup police team, INEC tracks ballot boxes movement. Just, you know, I'm not even sure if this should be normal. If we need this level of security just for an election, you know, and you know, the fact that we're even proud, you know, to say this. I remember the IG of police, you know, mentioning 35,000, you know, policemen will be arriving. I mean, if we're even proud to say it, that we need this level of security personnel.
Yeah,
just for an election.
It's worrisome, Osag, if you ask me. And it speaks volume of the way the main actors in this political space are actually managing information. The one that interests me was the last rider you read, that INEC said they are tracking the ballot boxes.
Yeah.
If indeed that is functional, then we don't need so much of security apparatus. Steal it, we'll track it. Just the same way you can use your IAM to track your phone. If indeed the tracking device is functional, that means you are introducing technology into this. But one thing we have known is that in time past, we have actually introduced technology that has failed, that made people to have lost so much confidence in INEC. So if you are saying you are bringing so much security apparatus as high as that just for a state, so what becomes of it? We should start looking at how we can use this stand-alone election to correct some of the anomalies that we have, not pumping in so much security actors. And how do we address the state actors, the politicians, the followers, that it's not, if indeed it's about service, of which is proven to the whole world that when you are a politician, it's not service to humanity. It's about what you can gain for yourself, and that's why everybody is making it a do or die affair. But it's happening that over 35,000 people will be mobilized for this election with other security apparatus just for a state. So if you are going to have like 10 states, that means you multiply 35 by 10. Do we have as much as that personnel to even govern, to police us as a nation? So we should start looking in that area to see how much can we do to actually discredit this aspect of violence, this aspect of ballot snatching, this aspect of actually people killing themselves for what is not. How many of the people that have been caught in time past perpetrating this act that has been punished to serve as deterrent to others to perpetrate that act? Those are areas we should be looking at. I'm really not too happy that 35,000 of the police force will be in there. That enough will bring tension to the electorate that wants to. You might think that you're actually boosting their confidence. You see everywhere is secure. You can see everywhere being flooded by the police. But those that have good intention to come, they will come. See, you can see police everywhere. Majority of them, when was the last time they saw a policeman in their vicinity? Now you're seeing about 10, 20, you know, all because of election in your area. I feel, by my own personal perspective, it will create more tension than the relief you feel that you want to give. We should speak more to the major actors, which are the politicians who incite people because of the gain. If it is about service, there should be collaboration. If anybody is winning, if you win, extend that hand of grace. But we've not sent that.
They
played out in all those things. They refuse to sign the peace accord, and that speaks that anything that happens, just let's take it by faith.
Again, it really just still paints a picture of where we are. You know, if every election cycle, you know, you need to bring people together to sign a peace accord. You know, when you would expect that it should be just, you know, normal sense. You know that, you know,
even with the peace accord, does that guarantee peace?
Nope. You know, the PDP candidate, or governor rather, in Edo State, I remember him being quoted, but you know, saying that this election is a do or die affair. Those type of utterances do not help. You know, but like you said, the 35,000 policemen has not ever stopped violence in
You will still hear of killing
elections.
on Saturday.
Not just killing, you know, the snatching of ballot boxes, the, you know, bullying people and chasing them away from polling units. Those things, you know, almost always happen. In the 2023 elections, the amount of policemen that the police, you know, said that they were deploying, they didn't stop the violence that was seen in Lagos and in many other places, you know, across the country. So it has never really brought any, you know, made any difference, really.
And also to interject you, you see, the other party is considering the mobilization of this police force to work against them. So you are not having that unity among everyone. You know, if you are deploying as much as this, there should be an understanding among the political parties that, okay, it's for the safety of everyone to make sure that we have good election. But the other party are already considering it that you're actually mobilizing that much to oppress a particular party so that you can always have your way. And that are areas that we must address pre-election. So that you go with less than 5,000 people, or you even make use of the police apparatus that you have in that state. So if you are mobilizing as much as this for election, that's to speak volume that we have less people policing that state. And that's why we've said, let police, state police, policing commence so that you can give room, so that you know, you understand the terrain. A lot of people that you are bringing them do not even understand the terrain of the area where you are mobilizing them to for the exercise. Yeah. And that might be confusing, but with the state policing, everybody can guard and do what is needful, and we'll all be better off for it.
Yeah. I mean, I just know that there's still a lot of fine-tuning that needs to be done with our electoral process, and the way that elections are held in Nigeria. You know, let's get to a place where, you know, people understand that it is, you know, it's useless. You know, if you disrupt a, you know, polling unit,
an election,
yeah, exactly. You know, it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change the result. You know,
and that's when you introduce technology.
Exactly. Let's get there. You know, quickly enough. Mr. Okunade, thank you very much for stopping by and for sharing your thoughts with us.
Always a great day to start the midweek with you.
All right.